with us afterwards for more detailed information. So we are already at 7 p.m. So the first slide that I would like to present is the slide of why studying in Canada. Eventually, if you are not very familiar with Canada, Canada is one of the countries that invests the most in higher education when it comes to the universities and research centers. The education in Canada is the responsibility of the provinces. So Canada does not have, for example, a Ministry of Education. Canada has different provinces in the country. So more specifically, it has 10 provinces, and each province is responsible for the universities of that province. One other thing that eventually you might be familiar with is that Canada is a bilingual country. So in Canada, people have two official languages, French and English, and depending on the part of the country where you live, you might be more exposed to English or to French. Mainly French is spoken in the province of Quebec, and for those that are seeking to study in French, that is where the most francophone universities are located. Canada is also a country that it's known by its multiculturalism. Canada is a country of immigration, and because of that, you will be able to have a lot of colleagues at the university that are from very different cultures. So you will have colleagues from China, from India, from Africa, from Europe, and everyone tends to get along in a very positive way, and that's what makes the experience of living and studying in Canada much more interesting. The fact that you are able to interact with people from very different backgrounds. In terms of the universities themselves, they are all the Caldo universities. They are all comprehensive universities, meaning that they offer programs in all areas of knowledge. But we will talk about that in the next slides. The Canadian academic system is probably somewhat similar to what you find in your own country. So after you finish your bacharelado, you have the opportunity to do a master program. The master program in Canada, you have two different modalities of master programs. You have thesis-based masters, so masters with research, and you have professional masters, or also called course-based masters. There are masters where you only attend courses, so you only go to classes and you don't need to do any specific research project at the end. The first version, the research version, usually takes between 2 to 2.5 years. The first year you only go to classes, and in the second year it's solely dedicated to research. The course-based master, it's mostly dedicated just to go to classes, and you might have a smaller project at the end that you need to present. For you to have an idea, course-based masters are offered in engineerings, so electrical engineering, civil engineering, computer engineering, and also MBAs, for example. The thesis-based masters are offered in all areas of knowledge. So the exact same engineerings that offer the professional masters also offer the research masters. So in the end, it's just a matter of what the person prefers, if it prefers the research pathway or the non-research pathway. Just a quick note that if you are interested in attending a PhD, the thesis-based master is the most appropriate option for you. After you do the master, you are able to enroll in a PhD. A PhD is a program that usually takes 4 years, and for which students attend classes for the first 2 years, and then for the rest of the time they are only doing research. For both thesis and thesis-based masters and PhD programs, you need supervisors. Supervisors are professors that are interested in supporting students, in assisting students in their research. And the supervisors are, as you will see further on the presentation, getting in touch with supervisors is one of the Caldo services that we offer for candidates. Talking about universities that are part of Caldo, Caldo is comprised of 9 Canadian universities. These are all considered to be comprehensive research universities, meaning that they offer programs in all areas of knowledge, so social sciences, exact sciences, engineering, health sciences, humanities. So our universities are prepared to offer basically programs in the area of knowledge that you're looking for by far. If just so that you have an idea, between the 9 universities, we offered more than 2,000 different programs between masters and PhDs. And the Caldo universities are all universities that are at the top of the universities in Canada. We will now take a closer look at each of the universities so that you have an idea of which are the areas of expertise of each university. And once again, this is just an overview of the universities. We are not going to go into a lot of detail. Let's start with the University of Alberta. The University of Alberta is located in the city of Edmonton. This university is one of the most renowned universities, not only in Canada, but in the world. They are consistently ranked among the 100 best universities in the world, and depending on the areas of research, they might be even within the best 50 universities in the world. In areas such as pharmacy and pharmacology, medicine, they are ranked below the 100 best universities within the 100 best universities in the world. The university offers more than 500 master and PhD programs, and it's home for one of the best research laboratories in virus-based diseases. The University of Alberta also houses the Canadian National Institute for Nanotechnology. Because of the province of where the university is, that it's a province that is very rich in oil and gas, the university also has a huge expertise in everything that relates to energy, the exploration of oil and gas, and also renewable resources and sustainable energy. Another university in the same province is the University of Calgary. The University of Calgary is one of the youngest universities of the Caldo group. The University of Calgary is considered to be among the 50 best universities in the world with less than 50 years, which basically highlights the fact that the university in such a short period of time was able to gain such a reputation. The University of Calgary, once again, has a huge reputation in the areas of medicine, life science, energy, and it has state-of-the-art laboratories and professors in the areas of neurosurgery, joint repair, and stem cell production. They are also very strong in the areas of clean energies. Beside this, the university also offers the only PhD in architecture of any Caldo university, and also the master and PhD program in veterinary. Dalhousie University is located in the city of Halifax. The city of Halifax sits just beside the Atlantic Ocean, and because of that, the university has developed a huge expertise in the areas of oceanographies and ocean studies. The University of Dalhousie is also one of the best universities in the world in the areas of clean energies and also in the areas of battery research. So they have developed a partnership with Tesla Motors, in which they are researching ways to create long-lasting and very cost-effective batteries. Beside that, the university also offers programs in the areas of agriculture, in the master programs, in the areas of computer science, most of the engineerings, and so on. Université Laval is located in the province of Quebec, and because of that, like I mentioned before, it's a French-speaking university. Most of the programs that Université Laval offers are French-speaking programs, and it offers a very big variety of programs. It's probably one of the universities that offers the most programs from all the Caldo universities. They are among the best universities in the world in the areas of forestry research. They also have a very strong medical department, and they are also very strong in the areas of uh, political sciences and business studies. They have state-of-the-art laboratories in the areas of geomatics, climate change, and optics and photonics. They are also one of the universities that offers programs in the areas of food science and agriculture, if that's something that is of interest to you. Moving to the capital city of Canada, Ottawa, you will find the University of Ottawa. The University of Ottawa is the largest bilingual university in North America. Basically, this means that it's the university that offers the most programs in English and in French. And if you are interested in actually having classes in English and in French, the University of Ottawa allows it. So you can have classes taught in English and other classes taught in French within the same program. The university has a huge expertise in the areas of social sciences, in the areas of medicine, and in very particular programs such as political science or public administration. Because the university sits in the capital city of the country, they also have a very strong department of law, and then they have all of the engineerings and most common programs in the areas of exact sciences. The university has state-of-the-art laboratories in the areas of photonics, anti-vibration, and nanofabrication. They also have the Max Planck University of Ottawa Center for Extreme and Quantum Photonics. That it's the third most relevant center for the Max Planck Foundation. Queen's University is located in the city of Kingston. The city of Kingston sits between Ottawa and Toronto, just beside the border with the United States. And this university has developed a huge reputation in the areas of geography and business studies. They also have a lot of reputation in the areas of education, and they were in the news in 2015 because a professor from the Queen's won the Nobel Prize for Physics. So that gave obviously a huge boost for the university's reputation. The university is usually considered to have one of the best MBAs in Canada, and it also has a huge reputation worldwide. So it's definitely an option to consider if you're interested in management studies. The University of Saskatchewan is located in the city of Saskatoon. The city of Saskatoon is situated in the province of Saskatchewan, and this province is considered to be the province where the most agricultural production in Canada takes place. And because of that, the university has developed a lot of expertise in the areas of agricultural and crop development. Just for you to have an idea, the university developed more than 400 crop varieties, which is a huge statement as to the research capacity in this field. The university is also home of one of the best veterinary programs in the world. The university program of veterinary sits within the best 50 programs in this area worldwide. On the other hand, their program of agriculture sits within the best 150 programs, which is also a huge accomplishment for the university. Outside of that, the university also offers programs in most areas of engineering, social sciences, and business studies. The University of Waterloo is located in the city with the same name. The University of Waterloo is perhaps one of the most relevant universities in Canada when it comes to information technology, mainly computer science, mathematics studies, and geography and area studies. The university is considered to be one of the best universities in the world in the areas of computer science. Also in the areas of mathematics, they have a huge reputation. We are talking about a university that has all these programs within the best 50 or 100 in the world. So it's usually considered to be one of the most successful universities if you want to study in these areas. And it has been gaining a lot of recognition from international companies such as Facebook, Google, that have installed offices in the city of Waterloo because of the university. Waterloo also is home of the Water Institute, which is one of the top 10 water researchers in the world, and takes a look at how to how to do a use of water in a sustainable way. The university also has the largest computer science department in all of Canada. So this is basically uh, a reflection of the relevance that this area has in the university. Western University is located in the city of London, Ontario. The University of Western has become one of the leading universities in Canada in different areas such as geography, medicine, statistics, chemical engineering. Home of the first hexagonal wind tunnel, and they have one of the best research centers in the areas of neurosciences, mainly the Brain and Mind Institute, where state-of-the-art neuroscience research takes place. In addition to that, Western is also home of one of the most relevant business schools in Canada. They have been considered to have one of the best MBAs in Canada, and also their management programs are usually very well regarded, not only in Canada but worldwide. Now that we have had a chance to talk a bit about the universities, it's also important to notice that the universities are not only strong academically speaking. They also have a huge series of services that are available to students and that are essential for the success of students when they are studying abroad. Obviously, when you're doing a master, and especially when you're doing a PhD, you will spend a lot of time living in another country. So it's essential that you have a support network that reassures you that you have all the necessary conditions to be successful. All of the Caldo universities have international offices that are offices dedicated exclusively to international students. And those offices provide a wide series of services such as support to students when they arrive to the campus by letting them know what are the services available, engaging students in activities with other students so that they can easily develop friendship with with other colleagues, and also making sure that if the student needs some specific support, for example, counseling, if the student is having issues coping with living abroad, there are psychological services available for the students to be able to have the necessary support, language services and academic writing services, and so on. There are also at our university sports facilities that students can use. They can even be part of university teams if they are interested and if they have the necessary skills to achieve to make it to the team. So there are a wide variety of services and activities that students can be engaged and that are available to international students as well. Late last year, there was a ranking published of which were the universities, the 300 top world universities with the highest rankings of employability. And we were very, very happy to see that 5 of Caldo universities were mentioned in that ranking. The University of Waterloo, Calgary, Alberta, Queens, and Western were all mentioned in this ranking, which is a huge accomplishment taking into account that we are only talking about a selected group of 300 universities, and that this is probably one of the most relevant indicators of success that universities have, the rate of employability of their students. Early this year, there was a ranking of which were the most international universities in the world, a ranking of 150 universities, done by the Times Higher Education. And we were also I'm very happy to see that 2 of our universities made it to the ranking in top positions. So Alberta made it as the 31st most international university in the world, and Waterloo in the 34th position, which basically gives you an idea of the relevance of international students in at our universities. Now talking a bit about Caldo and what Caldo does. So the first thing that I would like to tell you is that Caldo is not a private company. So Caldo is part of the universities. The universities decided to create the office of Caldo to provide support to students that are interested in studying at master and PhD level at our universities. And also, in addition, Caldo provides some guidance as to the type of scholarships of the entities that we have agreements with, such as, for example, Pronavec in Peru, to give candidates an idea of what sort of financial support they can bring from their own country. One of the relevant things about our service is that we make candidates' life much easier. So instead of having to navigate all by yourself the programs of 9 different universities, we provide you information on either direct links to the programs of our universities or information on which universities offer specific programs so that you don't have to browse all the different universities. In addition to that, and for the students that are considering to bring financing from their own country, so you just need to be considering to bring financing, you don't yet need to have a scholarship. We have a dedicated platform that assists students to get in touch with supervisors. So supervisors, like I mentioned before, are essential for course, for thesis-based masters, and also for PhD programs. And sometimes if you write directly to the professors, they might not reply to you to your email. In that sense, we decided to create a platform that will assist students to get in touch with professors. But in order to do that, you need to present some documentation so that the professors can easily assess your profile. This process, we call it the pre-assessment, the Caldo pre-assessment, and the basic things that need to be taken into considerations are the following. The first thing is that you need to be considering to apply to a scholarship. So that's the first thing. After you have decided that you want to apply to a scholarship, and by applying to a scholarship, I mean a scholarship from your own country, you need to provide some documents, mainly the academic CV, a language test. So as you can realize, studying in an English-speaking country, if you haven't done so before, you will need to show evidence that you have the minimum level of language. So you can present the TOEFL, IBT, or the IELTS academic for English, or if you're interested in French, you can present the TFI, the DALF, or the DELF. You need to also present transcripts. Transcripts are the certificado de notas. Is the document where the courses that you took are listed as well as the grades. So we don't need the diploma, we just need the transcript, we just need the certificado de notas. And finally, you need to present a statement of research interest. A statement of research interest is a document that basically tells the supervisor which sort of research are you interested in doing. This is a very short document, 1 to 2 pages maximum, where you are basically presenting what you would like to do for your research. Afterwards, you identify the universities and the programs that you're interested in, and with one simple pre-assessment, you can identify between 1 to 9 universities and as many programs as you would like at each university, as long as they obviously are related to what you're looking for. And you submit all of this information via the Caldo platform that it's available at apply.caldo.ca. I will now take the time just to give you some highlights as to our website. So just a moment, because I'm just changing my screen here. So If you go to www.caldo.ca, you will access our website. Just for you to have an idea, we are in the process of changing websites. So eventually, if you access our website in 3 weeks more, you will see a new website, a much more informative and engaging website. But for the time being, we still have our current website. And in the current website, if you come to this section that says apply with Caldo, you have in here a series of options. There are two main tabs that I would like to highlight. The Caldo Preassessment service is one, and the Find a Program. In the Find a Program, like the name says, you are able to access direct links to the graduate programs of each of our universities. And I would invite everyone to go to our YouTube channel and see the webinar that we did 2 weeks ago on finding a program. That will tell you basically how to navigate the university's websites to find programs and to find the information that you need. We also have a search engine that helps you identify programs a bit faster. But my initial recommendation is that you browse the site of the universities, because you will go directly to the page where all the programs are listed and you have an idea of what they offer. You can do this in 15 to 20 minutes. Another tab that I would highlight is the Caldo Preassessment service. This tab has information on some of the things that I was mentioning. So you have in here information about difference between course and thesis-based master. You have information on how to write a statement of research. You have information on how your academic CV should look like, and eventually which tests should you go for, the TOEFL or the IELTS, if you're not sure which test to take. You also have more information on our universities in this document, Caldo Universities Profile. So this is basically a PDF document that gives you access to all of our universities, and it gives you detailed information on the universities. To access the application platform, you just need to click this button, start the application process. Once you click this button, you are taken to our platform, which has this initial message here that basically tells you what are the situations for which you should use this platform. And this is something that once you have read and you have confirmed that this is something applicable to you, you just create a new account and you start populating the platform with information that is requested. Very basic information that you will need to include. So going back to our PowerPoint, I will just take the time to give you our contact information. You can contact us afterwards, and the email that you should write if you have questions is the email graduate.coordinator@caldo.ca. So you should use this email for anything related to programs that you might be interested from our universities, how to apply, if you have any doubts regarding how to write an academic CV or anything related to academic documents. Also, you can write to us if you want more information, for example, on the ProNabec scholarship, because we have some information and also some links, some direct links that we can provide in regards to that. Aside from that, if you are not sure, for example, who to contact from a particular university because you want a very specific type of information about a program, you can also write to us, and we will be very glad to guide you on which is the person that you should contact to get the information from the university. So right now I would open the presentation to any questions that you may have. And like I said at the beginning, you can write your questions on the chat box. You can write them in English or in Spanish. It's as you prefer, and I will be answering them in order of arrival. So in terms of our universities, and something that sometimes candidates are also interested in knowing, our universities, they also offer their own financial assistance. Usually a student admitted into a master program or a PhD, depending on the department, may be entitled to automatically receive some sort of financial scholarship. And that scholarship, the amounts vary, so it's not always the same amount, but is usually enough to cover the tuition costs and to cover um, eventually some living costs. For you to have an idea, to live in one of our cities, just for one person, you will need around $1,200 to $1,400 a month. So that's just an average, depending obviously on um, the exact location in the city where you live. You might have, for example, housing that it's a bit more cheap or more expensive. However, the cities where the highest cost of living in Canada are not are not part of Caldo. So Vancouver, Toronto, or Montreal are the highest living cost cities in Canada. So none of our universities is in any of those cities. So the costs of living are a bit lower than if you would be living in those major cities. So Juan Carlos is asking if I believe that question is if we have a program about sound engineering. Juan Carlos, that's the first time that someone asks me about that. I'm not entirely sure. I would need to look into it because I know that we have some. So by sound engineering, you mean related to music or related to acoustic in buildings, or if you can eventually specify. If we have programs related to music and related to civil engineering. Uh, uh, Sound engineering, I'm not exactly sure if it's related to music production. Probably it would sit within one of the music programs that our universities offer. You're also asking, what is the cheapest city in Canada? Well, I don't know in Canada, to be honest, but from the Caldo universities, I can tell you that the university that has the lowest tuition and that it's very competitive in terms of living costs for international students is the University of Saskatchewan. Um, but like I said, the living costs of our cities, they are not very different. They have somewhat similar costs, so the difference is not too big. Um, Silvana is asking if Peruvian citizens who are permanent residents can may also apply to the Pronabec scholarship. I think so, Silvana. I think you can, because one of the things is to be a Peruvian citizen. However, you need to be aware that those scholarships afterwards they require the students to go back to Peru. So once you finish your studies, you need to go back to Peru for a specific period of time. I don't know if it's the exact time that you did your studies or if it's double the time. So if you did 2 years in Canada, you will need to go there for 4 years. Um, so um, so Valex is asking if what is the role of Caldo and Pronavec. So Pronavec, if you are able to get a scholarship from them, they will pay you the tuition, so the fees of the university and also the living costs. So you will be able to study abroad basically with no costs because the scholarship would pay everything. And Caldo helps you with information about programs and about supervisors. But the final application to the university is always done via the university website. So we don't process applications. So we provide information for you to decide. And afterwards, you register in the university that you feel is the most suitable for you. Yasmin is asking if Pronavec is the only that offers scholarships. I'm not sure, Yasmin, if there are other entities in Peru that offer scholarships. Probably there are, but they are the only ones that we have an agreement with. But you can apply to any sort of financial assistance in Peru. It does not need to be Pronavec. I was just talking about Pronavec because they are the ones that I know the best. So Omar is asking about information about civil engineering. Omar, in terms of civil engineering, that's probably one of the most popular programs at our universities. They all offer civil engineering. So my suggestion is, if you go to the Find a Program link that I mentioned before, and you go to each of our universities' websites, you are able to see under the Research tab which are the areas of research that they offer. And eventually you can look for the building integrated modeling that you're interested and see if there are professors looking into that particular field. Sometimes because the research areas are so specific, we can guide you as to where to find the information, but we are not able to exactly pinpoint the exact professor that is studying that particular area. However, if after researching the university's websites, you're not able to find what you're looking for, let me know, and I can definitely assist you with trying to become more specific in the research. Louise is asking, what is the cost of accommodation in Canadian universities? So Louise, the cost of residencies is probably in some cases higher than if you live in an apartment with other students. And that is for probably one main reason, is because you have your own room and you have a series of services that the residency provides that are eventually more elaborate than if you just live in an apartment. However, I would say that eventually it can ranges between $700 to $900 a month, something like that. Silvan is asking, what is the difference between the tuition for a permanent resident and an international student? So Silvan, a permanent resident of Canada is considered a domestic student, while an international student is not. I would say that the difference between the tuitions can be almost double. So eventually you would be having tuitions for $8,000 a year, for example, for a domestic student, while an international student would pay $16,000 a year. But this is just an example, a general example. Is not always the same. In some cases, the fees may be closer. In other cases, might be even bigger, the difference. Claudia is asking which university is the best in economy. Well, like I said, Claudia, for international students, the university that offers the lowest tuitions are Saskatchewan. However, there are others that also offer very competitive tuition for international students, for example, Alberta. But if you bring a scholarship, it doesn't make any difference because the scholarship would pay your tuition. However, you need to realize the following. For PhD students and in some research master programs, some departments may not accept students that want to pay the tuition themselves. This can be easily understood. For example, if PhD takes 4 years, so for a student to bring financing for 4 years, he needs to bring a lot of money with him, or he needs to have a lot of money just to study. And in most cases, that's not possible. So the professors prefer to accept only students with a scholarship, especially for PhDs. Juan is asking, how about the weather in Canada? So Juan, the weather in Canada is something that everyone seems to think that it's a big problem, but in the end, it's something that it's very easy to get used to. So in Canada, unlike what you experience in South America, you actually have the 4 seasons. So for example, right now we are in the winter, and you have snow in the streets. The snow will start to melt in March. Afterwards, everything turns green until November. The summers are really hot, so you have summer days where you have more than 30 degrees. Uh, During the spring is really nice to be outside, very fresh. The temperatures between 20 to 30 degrees. During the fall is also the same thing. The weather is for the most part not very nice. Um, and then winter comes around November up to February. So that's how life is in Canada in terms of weather. It's the actual 4 seasons experience in the country. So for those of you that think that Canada is only snow and ice, that's not the reality in the cities where our universities are. Eventually, obviously, if you go closer to the North Pole, it's definitely ice and cold, but not on the cities where our universities are located. Um, Louise is asking a very specific question about environmental management. So Louise, for questions on programs, I will advise you to write me an email, because I can provide more detail over email than in here. Because like I said before, our universities offer close to 2,000 programs, so it's not easy for me to just be telling you some programs for some universities and then forget about others. So I will ask you, if you have questions about programs, write me an email to graduate.coordinator@caldo.ca. Um, Yasmin is asking if there are other forms of financing without Pronabec, other systems. So Yasmin, like I said, if you're looking for financing in at the universities, my suggestion would be the following. Once you identify a program and a university, you need to identify a professor. Um, and this is because for thesis-based masters and for PhDs, there are financing available. But for professional masters, there usually is no financing available. So for professional masters, you would need to come in and pay and do your program and eventually go back to your country and start to work in the area. For thesis and or research-based masters and for PhDs, there are some financing available from the university. So the steps that you should follow is, first, find a program, then try to see if you can find a professor that is doing research in the area that you're interested. Get in touch with the professor by sending an email with your academic CV and your statement of research. Explain exactly what you want to do and ask the professor if there would be financing available for you to study there. This would be the easiest way, because everything else are scholarships that usually are much more complex. You need to be very good academically, or you need to be very very good in terms of um, already being in a PhD in Canada and being recommended to a particular scholarship. So these are other types of scholarships that you have available. So Valex is asking if she can apply to winter 2018. In some cases, Valex, you might. However, the deadlines for that are still usually in mid-year. So for May, June, that's where the deadlines for those programs are. So yes, you can definitely apply to the January 2018 starting date, and you would have opportunity to start your program in the winter of next year, most likely in January. So for you to have an idea, the starting dates of the programs are for the most cases September and January of each year. So September is considered the fall term and January is considered the winter term. So those are the two main admission dates. So Sylvan is asking if scholarships are also granted for graduate certificates or only for masters and PhDs. Indeed, Silvana, for graduate certificates, I'm not aware of any scholarships. So scholarships are usually associated with programs that involve research. If the program does not involve research, it's very unlikely that there will be any scholarship available. So yes, they would be only mostly for PhDs, masters, postdoctoral programs, and also what it's called visiting research. That are, for example, students that are doing PhDs in their home country, and they will come here to do a master, to do a research period. So to do, for example, an academic year of research with a particular professor. So I will give one more time for one more question if you have any. If you don't, like I said, please send me your questions on email, and I will most definitely get in touch with you to give you an idea of what are the options here. Tomorrow, you will also receive the presentation, so the video presentation for today, and some links that are of interest for candidates applying to or wanting to apply to universities in the Caldo consortium. The email once again is graduate.coordinator@caldo.ca, and I will be sending an email from this email account tomorrow to all of you. So as you can just reply to the email that you will be receiving tomorrow. So I would like to thank you all for the time that you took to be with us today for this presentation. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here. Just one last question. Juan Carlo is asking which is the most beautiful city in Canada. I don't know. I have some preferences. I really like Quebec City, for example, the city where the Université Laval is a wonderful city. The city of Ottawa is very nice also. So it basically depends on the type of preference that you like. If you like a more metropolitan city, like a really truly American city with tall buildings, probably will like Calgary. If you really like a city that it's more like European architecture, you will love Quebec City. So there are very different. If you like to live near the sea, you would love Halifax. So there are all these different sort of particularities about all the cities of the Caldo universities. So I will be available to answer any questions that you may have, and thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today for this presentation, and hope to hear from you soon. Thank you so much.